So the whole thing is kind of relentless. I'm fairly sure from the roof down to that body line, most of the stuff is flat. However, here's a funny thing. I put my hand in this earlier on and there was a little dip in there. So I'm going to call this chasing it. When I filled the dip in and sprayed some clear coat over it, it went from being that size to about that size. So I put more stuff on it, put more clear coat on it, then I noticed it went from there all the way down to here. And I couldn't see it with my eye. That's nuts, isn't it? So for a minor millimetre dip up there, I'm sure when I finish doing the bodywork this will all come in from both ends, but it's still going to be big-ish. This back part here, I reckon this was one of the places where the metalwork wasn't very good. So there's way more filler on this section than I would like to have used. But I think I've got it flat again. I'm not finished doing the fine filler stuff yet. Still more to go on that. However, I'm going to guide coat the... You can see the little pock marks in there. I'm going to guide coat the primer when it sets up and add to it instead of sanding it off all the time. Again, in filler that looked as if it was fairly flat, but now I've got some primer on it. I can see the little nooks, pocks and crannies that I'm going to have to go back along and put more filler in. It's mind-numbing stuff. I reckon what we'll call this back quarter, oh sorry, the rear section. I've got maybe 10 hours working that, and I've applied the body filler maybe 5 or 6 times. It's getting there, shape's back, but more of the filler ends up in the ground than ends up in the van. I don't know if that's the way it's meant to be. This is not what I do for a living. I started working on the sides as well. They're going to be a nightmare. Same thing. My general way of doing stuff is the green marks in the van are a fiberglass filler compound. It's supposed to be very, very watertight. Then I go for normal body filler over the top of it, or Bondo, as our American brothers and sisters would call it. Then there's a fine filler. So trust me, that's about my 4th or 5th attempt. It's a really big long thing and it's going to have to be straight as a die. So where are we at? From the roof down to here, I reckon I've got it straight. This one popped up in me today and now I'm beginning to think, if I didn't notice it in all the months it's been sitting in the workshop, how many more of these things am I going to find as I go along trying to do the bodywork? And I noticed as well there's a couple of dents coming out the way in the bottom. I don't really know how to deal with that apart from hit it with a hammer. So it is moving forward. Have you ever heard the expression, throw some paint on it? Again, I'm fairly naive. And what's the other word? Naive and optimistic. A heady combination. I thought the painting would be the easy part. Maybe the painting will be the easy part, I don't know. But I'll tell you something. I've got that bang on, haven't I? Filling and priming take an awful lot of time, effort and energy. I'm sure if you're a professional body shop guy with all the right gear, you'd be able to run through this in jig time. But I'm neither of them, so just good old fashioned elbow grease. I don't know when I put the video up when the side of the van was covered in all the paint runs, but over a course of about a week, 10 days, you see what I did. Right, there's a run there. Imagine that was it. Was the camera picking up? Come on, camera. Right, imagine that was a really massive big run. The paints are based in solvents. My theory was if I tried to rub it down right away, I could maybe damage into the surrounding paint and make a big mess. So what I did was hit it down with 40, 80, 120, 180, then primed it up again. So I've got this backing primer. So it's definitely white, isn't it? Big and white. Is this an Adolf Hitler one? But as I said, you put the primer on, you take it off, you put it back on, you take it off. Then you start spotting there's a tiny ding in it. By and large, the rest of it, here we go, it's ready for paint. I also discovered why I did such a terrible job. There's another bit that I'll have to put more filler in that and get the shape back to it, but coming together. I discovered why the paint gun wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. The paint gun was fairly blocked. It's a really old gun. I think they're around 20 or 30 quid. I should have bought a new one. Cleaned all that out, then just as I was ready to try putting more paint on it, the compressor broke, so I discovered there was a leak in the compressor as well, so I wasn't getting the proper air pressure. The gun was dirty and the paint was too thick. So slowly catch a monkey. I'm trying to pick up skills that people go to colleges and spend years in auto shops and garages learning. So a recurring theme of mine in the videos, it's not easy, but it's not difficult. It's not easy. It just takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to get it together. So I think this video is probably more for me than anybody else, and I can compare it with the other ones I've put up and say you have actually moved on quite a lot. Right, hang on. Some bit of funk coming from upstairs. I love funk. Love all types of music. Right, anyway, terrible upload. I think I'm going to do one in Rizzy Sunak after my Liz Truss video. So expect more crap videos to come. Right, thanks for all for watching. Thank you all for watching even. Right, bye bye.